Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in for another episode of Bikinis After Babies. I'm so excited about today's episode. We have a very special guest, someone that I connected with on my road to pro, and we followed each other's journeys. And it's come full circle because she is joining us today as an IFBB pro. So I'd like to welcome IFBB Fit Model Pro, Meaghan Taylor. Meaghan is a
Huh.
woman who, after 8 years of competing and 12 national shows in bikini, earned her IFBB Pro card by winning her Fit Model 45 class and the Fit Model 45 overall in August at NPC North Americans. She is an acute care nurse practitioner who works as a legal nurse consultant. She's a wife and a mama of three. I'm really excited to dive into her journey from marathon runner to competitive bodybuilder and learn how she decided to make that last minute switch to Fit Model, where she achieved her big goal of becoming an IFBB pro. I couldn't be more excited to introduce this incredible woman to our audience. Welcome to Bikinis After Babies, IFBB pro, Meaghan Taylor.
Oh, hi.
Yay.
Thank you so
I think I
much,
said pro
Joanne.
like 300 times in there because it's really
Yes,
special, and I'm so excited for you. When you messaged me and said that it finally happened, I was like, "Oh my gosh, finally." So,
yes.
take me back to that moment when you
Uh,
were announced as the overall winner and won that pro card.
yeah, I mean, as I know that we've been after this for so long that
Yeah.
it's one of those goals where you really hope it's going to happen and you think, okay, it's just a matter of time and it will eventually happen if I just keep showing up. And then
Mhm.
when it does happen, it's like, am I dreaming? Like this is it? This is the time? Like this is yeah, so it was a huge like I was in disbelief pretty much for like several days thereafter.
Yeah,
It was
it
just like
does feel like
I
that.
I
It's
can't believe
like
this happened. Yeah.
yeah, no, totally. I know the announcer. Well, when I won mine, we had to do an overall, but I had already turned pro. Like then they had the overall. I know it's different in Fit Model, right? Where
Oh,
you
yeah.
were the class winner in 45, and then you had to do the overall to win that pro card, which will change, I think,
Correct.
as things grow in that division. But I was the A class 40 winner, and I'm backstage like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like trying to get my shit together before I got to go in the
Yeah.
overall. And the like, oh, it was the DJ. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Are you kidding?" Like the best thing just happened to me. Like,
I
what do
know.
people normally act like? Like I can't even keep it together right now.
It's true. I remember like
Yeah.
when I got I knew that I was in the center for the 45 for my class. And so I knew because there were seven of us and I was right in the center. So I knew that that had happened. And then I remember I messaged my friend Amy and I said, she's like, "Oh, it's so close." And I said, "Well, I've got to get the overall." She goes, "We'll go get it." And I'm like,
Aw.
you're right. And it totally like that message. I thought, gosh, thank you so much for that. Cause I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go get it. And like, what's
Yeah.
stopping me? So it was, yeah, I had little snippets of friends that were commenting and kind of helping me throughout that day and just giving me that extra motivation to make it to the
Yeah.
overall. So
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I think it's not a bad thing to have some expectations of sort of like, why not me? My time will come, like to have that confidence. Some people are like, I don't want to set my hopes up, but I think that's really important, like to know that, you're bringing your best and know that you're going to be competitive in that overall and that pro card has your name on it.
yeah, it's a combination of not get like I'm always cautiously optimistic. So it's like, you always go in and you expect you're hoping for the best, right? And so after all those years, and like it just wasn't ever happening. So then you
Yeah.
kind of have this protective sort of mindset that, okay, it's probably not going to happen, but we're just going to go back home. We're going to go right back to the grind and we're going to just keep doing this again and again.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, it's like, oh, wow, like this is actually like I can read this is happening. Like it's
Yeah.
a whole mindset shift.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I want to circle back to that because it is quite a story of perseverance from all of your national shows over the last, 8 years of your journey. But take me back to getting started in competing. I know you were a marathon runner and then found your way to weightlifting. So, what was that like when you first embarked on, or at least discovered bodybuilding and bikini competitions?
Yeah, it was really a fluke. Honestly, I had run all my life. I did like cross country in high school and I ran track, I ran the hurdles. My baseline was ballet. I used to be a dancer and so I had that flexibility and so when I stopped dancing in 7th, 8th grade, and I started to run, the flexibility helped me a lot with hurdles. And so I ran the hurdles, loved them, indoor, outdoor track. And then after I graduated from high school and went to undergrad, I was like, well, I can't really run hurdles anymore and I can't really do like sprinting. So I'm just going to start doing long distance. And so then I started into that and ran that's what and then I met my husband and we got married and had two kids and all during that time I was running. So I was Marine Corps Marathon a couple of times, Baltimore Marathon because I live in Maryland and northern Baltimore County. So I running was always just my therapy. I would go out, go for long runs, and had two babies, and it was great. I was able to, lose the weight, my baby weight, and then get myself back in shape, just feeling good about myself. And then when we found out we were having my daughter, Gwen, I was 34 going into 35. And when I had her, well, I had gained a good 50 pounds with her
Yeah.
because I was on bed rest. Charlie was a preemie. My middle boy, Charlie, was a preemie. So we weren't expecting Gwen, number one. And number two, during that pregnancy, I was like on very high watch for
Yeah.
abruption. So, with all of that cautiousness, I really limited my mobility. And in doing so, picked up a lot of baby weight, which then tried running after her birth, which by God's grace kept her, she stayed to term. But I just wasn't like my metabolism, I feel like when I hit 35, it just completely changed. And the things
Yeah.
that used to work were not working.
Yep.
So it changed things up for me. And that's when I started working out at home and doing like Insanity and P90X and all of those sort of home. Fell in
Yeah.
love with them, and I remember my husband saying like, "Why don't you start lifting? Like you could just like if you lifted, maybe that'll help." And I was like, "No, I'm a runner." And then I started lifting, and I thought, "Wow, this is it." And then it just skyrocketed. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how that started. And I just started competing locally with regional shows. And then eventually, like after maybe a year of regionals, then I started going into the national circuit. And then I pretty much stayed within the national circuit just because I am a master's athlete. And I figured it was really the only way to, get your card or get on the road to get your card is through the national circuit. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I looked at your contest history and it was like every summer, like even like in 2020 when like
Yeah.
most people were like, I'm going to take the year off because things are kind of weird and you were hitting up all the national shows. So, I mean, you kept coming back and you kept showing up. And I'm just very curious to know like what what it was that kept you going. Like because I know
Yeah.
so many people that they're sort of like, after this one, this is it. Or maybe their partner or their like significant other's like, come, like, are we just going to keep doing this? Like,
Yep.
but I know how it is when you're so close that you're like, maybe this is it." Or hit the first one and you get third and then the next one, you're like in the mix again. And, so explain maybe a little bit about like the mindset and kind of where you were at like year after year, just like to keep showing up.
Yeah, well, you hit the nail on the head. Really, it's like when you get so close. I remember, like, even in 2020, 2019, we were in the tent. Were you there for that one with in
No, I
Pittsburgh?
wasn't that
Oh,
year.
I
No.
would.
A 10, I've heard about it. Oh my
Oh yeah,
gosh.
and it was torrential downpour. I mean, it was like raining. It was crazy, and there was just tans were dripping off, and there was
Oh,
no audience. It
that's
was wild.
weird. That's so weird.
But the thing that I loved about that though is they went right from prejudging to finals. Like there was
Yeah.
no, it was like it was super cool. But anyway, yeah, and I did have those conversations with my husband where he was like, what's the end point? Like you keep doing this year after year. And at first I was very close and I had gotten like second place a couple times and then a third. And then it started like fourth, fifth, ninth, 10th. And
Yeah.
I'm like, but I think what made me keep coming back is that it wasn't so much about that day as it was the entire year just of the transformation. And I just loved the training so much. And it is such a part of my day and my mental health and just getting down there and just lifting, pushing heavy weights and lifting heavy. And it gives you that sense of such a sense of empowerment first thing in the morning for me that it's just like, okay, I've done the hardest thing of my day. So everything
Yeah.
else is gravy. And just that becomes such a part of, which is why rest days are very hard for me. I won't
Same.
lie. And they're not
Same.
really rest, they're kind of like bar days. But um it's just such a huge part of who I am and my
Hmm.
routine that it was easy to just keep showing up because I didn't do it for that day. I did it for the whole
Yeah.
process. And I loved every summer, you know, starting prep in March or April and going through the process with my coach. And she would just be my cheerleader through it all. And we'd have our ups and our downs where, things are crazy with the kids and their sports and trips and, everything. So it's that daily grind, I think, that shapes you and it keeps you coming back
Yeah.
regardless of the outcome.
Yeah.
So,
I think
yeah,
also, like, it's important to, like, to state if somebody doesn't know, either they haven't competed nationally or they don't really follow the sport, like, placing inside the top 10 is still, like, a huge feat. Like, there are no easy classes. Like, this is nationals. So, of course, you're disappointed when you slide from, like, 2nd, 3rd to, like, ninth, 10th, but, like, you're still amidst, like, the best athletes in the country. So sometimes that can be hard for people to understand. Like, and of course, you want to keep doing better. But like I always say too, like, you're a year older and you're in phenomenal shape. So you're absolutely making progress. And we can never guarantee who's going to show up that day, all the
right,
things, right? So yeah, I think like it's not always about like the pro card. I think of course that's the ultimate goal, right? But
right.
I don't think that I would look at, any of those like outside of the top 5 placings as like failures, because you can see for yourself like the progress that you're making year to year, which is like phenomenal for women to experience.
Right, it is. And I mean, to put on the mass that you need to naturally is, it takes that extra effort and
Yeah,
it's just the constant grind. But I think too, it's one of those things where, as long as I make like I had this goal, like I just want to make first call outs. If I can make
mhm,
first call outs, that's great. I'm happy to even be on the stage with those girls. And um, but having those periods of time where you do come home with a medal, there were several years where I came home
with a
empty-handed.
t-shirt.
Yeah, I got a
A t-shirt
t-shirt.
and a protein bar.
It's way
Yeah.
too uncomfortable. But
Yeah,
yeah, it kind of was one of those things where I'm gonna continue to just grind through this and I'm doing it more to and also I think as being a parent, and especially of teenagers, where everything is instant. We want instant this and instant that.
mhm.
And I think that our teenage kids are conditioned to just want and get things instantly. And I'm like, that's not really how life is. And I know you see influencers that will tell you otherwise, but
Right.
really in life, the things that mean the most and the things that have actual value take a very long time. And it
Yeah.
takes a lot of effort and a lot of work and a lot of years and a lot of sweat and a lot of mornings downstairs in the basement, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that my kids have seen that year after
Yeah.
year after year, and persistence really does pay off. You can't give up. You can't quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like the biggest takeaway is just, there are little eyes watching us. And, if you come home and you're real salty about your placing, oh, that girl shouldn't have beat me. And like you're teaching your kids poor sportsmanship and you're teaching them that just like it didn't go my way, so I'm just going to quit now. Right. So I'm curious to know, what was their reaction when you won? Like, I'm sure, were they there or were they at home?
No, they were home in Baltimore. So
Yeah.
typically when I go on because I feel like it's there's that Friday, that's that filler day where not much is
Yeah.
going
It's a
on and
long weekend. Yeah.
it's a long weekend. And so I enjoy just like I drive
Yeah.
I'll drive to Pittsburgh. So it's like about 4.5 hours from where I live. And so I just drive there. I enjoy that time. And then I spent it actually with Amy Anger that Friday. We did our team workout at the gym there in Pittsburgh. And it's just a great time for me to be with other
Mhm.
people that are just like me because
Yeah.
there aren't many people out there like us.
Yeah.
We're like that 1%,
Yeah.
and eating out of the plastic containers and like most moms my age on the sidelines are not doing that. So
Right.
it's it puts us with like-minded people and that's what
Yeah.
I really enjoy. And so yeah, so when they actually, my oldest son, Sam, who's 17, he recorded it where like my husband had it on the live stream. And when they did the overall and then they said my name, my oldest was like, yeah, mom, say it. This is great. Like everybody's
Love that.
screaming and I can like hear him because he's filming, but it was really cute. I have that. I have that video on my
Yeah.
phone. I listen to it. So it's cute.
Oh, I love that. I think that's so special because they've seen you, put in the work year after year, and then for it to finally happen, I think that shows them like you just keep at it, you'll get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
And I'll
love
say
it.
like with my kids, because they're all in different sports, or even if it's something with school and I'm just,
Yeah.
they get overwhelmed and frustrated. I'm like, Mom, did mom quit? No.
I do the same things.
No.
And like my kids will be, I know, mom, you got your pro card after 19 years. Like, well, see, good, you're listening.
That's right. It's not everything comes easy.
Yeah.
Don't quit.
No, you get back
Persistence
out there
pays
on that
off,
mat, you
all
keep
those
trying.
different things. Yeah. Those life lessons.
Yeah, 100%. Well, also, most kids do not have parents that are professional athletes. So I tell them
Right.
that too, like, I know, mom, but you can use that now too as moving forward. Anytime you
It does
discipline them,
give
be
me
like,
some street cred with them that
yeah,
I'm like, okay, like listen to me because I know. And finally they're like, oh, we do kind of have to listen to her now, but they
yeah.
probably don't.
I'm sure their friends all think it's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. So, before we kind of dive into the fit model stuff, because I have so many things I want to talk about there,
Sure.
tell me a little bit about the feedback that you were receiving in bikini, because I know that you had done bikini earlier in the summer and then
I
made the
did.
switch between Masters Nationals and North Americans. So, what was some of the feedback that you had been getting these like last couple years? And then like we can parlay that into like how you made the switch.
Yeah, I mean, it just came down to size, honestly. It was just more glute. Um I think that my upper body was good. I don't think that there was really, but it was just having that from the back shot really just the projection I think that I needed. And
Yeah.
it just was always the upper outer glute and the 3D sort of projection of the glute. That was always my feedback. And that was
Yeah.
pretty much it. I mean, in different, having three babies and having three pregnancies, of course, I was always very concerned about my lower core and, just that. So, but I never really had any feedback about that. But that was always my obsession was just making sure that I was, had that, that core midline sort of tightness and but I mean, overall, it was just grow. And I knew that I had a couple of options with that. I could take off several years and just build, or I could choose the PED route, which I didn't want to do. Or I could just kind of keep doing what I'm doing and showing up and not really having any expectation. And that's sort of the route that I had gone up until Masters Nationals, which was July, 6 weeks prior to North Americans. And I finished, I think, 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
I know I was the outside. Um, and again, it was still grow, 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 grow. And it was more like of a mass feedback.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then it was, we just kept doing that. And my coach was fully supportive of me doing that. And she would say, do you want to take off here? And I was like, no, because this is just like part of my routine now. And I love every July going to Pittsburgh and, and even in late August, going to Pittsburgh and doing the different shows and seeing my friends. And it's just become more of it's just routine for me now.
Yeah.
And so it's funny when the day that I drove home, so Masters Nationals was Saturday night on the stage. I drove home Saturday night and then I got home around like midnight and then slept for a couple hours. And then we drove to Outer Banks that next day, but we took two separate vehicles. So I was driving with my daughter and then my husband had my two boys. And so I'm in my car driving and I'm like so tired, because I just competed not even 24 hours.
Yeah.
And my coach messaged me and she's like, Evan Wells, who is another coach on Team Pro Physique, he had just made this post and I think it's something we should look into. And it said something like, if you didn't score top 5 in your last national bikini show, consider doing Fit Model. They're rewarding more muscular physiques. And I was like, prior to this, I had been a little more resistant. I was kind of like, no, I'm just bikini. I'm tried and true. I'm going to stick with it. And then she's like, and then I thought, this is a good point. And it has evolved. And so they are rewarding more muscular physiques.
Right.
And, it's not that you can't have any tie in, you can have a little tie in. So I thought, okay, let's just do it. Like, what do I have to lose? Nothing. So that same day, I messaged my posing coach, Lana Dunbar. She's like, yep, let's go for it. And I ordered my consult for my fit model suit with Toxic. I was like, I'm just going all in. Let's just do this.
Like 6.5 hours later.
Exactly. So that, and then like as I'm driving, I'm like
Yeah.
voice texting my parents, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna try this new division because they're always. I would always call them on the drive home, and
Yeah.
they could see that you could hear the disappointment a little bit in my voice, and then this time I called him and I told him, and they were like, "This sounds like a better division for you. I think you should go for it." And I was like,
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, I think I will.
But, like, weren't
So,
you so excited to kind of go, okay, rather than, like, showing up and just, like, hoping that it's a different result, like, now I have something that is this new opportunity, like, fully not knowing how it could go because
and
you
I
could show
didn't.
up and be like,
Yeah.
"Your bikini," right? Like, you don't really
Hmm.
know, but I'm sure there was a part of you that was like, "This is really exciting, like, I'm pumped for this."
It was. It was exciting because I felt like finally I think that I can fit somewhere
Yeah.
that I can be rewarded. And I remember even weeks leading up until, we left for the show, I remember texting Amy and I was just like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know about the criteria. Like, how do I know? Like, this is so new. And what are the judges looking for? And it seems to change based on, it was just interesting that I was very unsure of, but I thought, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to keep, and my training stayed the same. My macros stayed the same. Nothing changed except the posing and the suit.
That
So,
was
I
gonna be my
mean,
next question is, like,
yeah,
because I do think, and we're gonna get into this later, but, like, there are many misconceptions about fit model, and one of them is that it's easier, and it's
right
not. Like,
now.
then you can attest to that, that your training for national bikini was not any different than your training for
No.
national fit model that got you a pro card. So, yeah, I think that's one thing that, that needs to be just sort of shut down. And it was the same way when bikini started in 2009, because I was that first class of
Yeah, you were.
girls that did it. And I mean, people were like, this is never gonna last. Like, this is a Hawaiian tropics contest. We're going to get up and walk out of the audience when it's on. And that was
Yep.
the case. There was not very
Yeah.
many people there. But I mean, look at where the division went and look at how massive it is and how athletic it is. And so, what I'm
Oh,
excited
yes.
about, having been a part of that and now watching this unfold, is I feel like it's evolving quicker than bikini did. Because, and not to say that the physiques are going to like get to that crazy, like, level. Like, there is going to be a lot of
There has to be,
parameters. There
right.
has to be, but just to see that right away we're seeing athletic physiques, which I'm so happy about. And just now you're really seeing women that have got, a nice amount of muscle, softer look, but just like a beautiful fit physique, right? This is not
Right.
like, we're not rewarding no muscle. Like, I think that's the big, even like male coaches that are kind of new and just looking at it, they're just like, oh, just, cardio and light weights. But no, there's a lot of training involved, a lot.
There is. I mean, and in fact, it really is like the 2017, 2018 bikini. If you look at
Yeah.
how I think that that's the look. I know that they mentioned Ashley Kay a lot and her look at Olympia, but I think it's more like that 2018, 2019, those
Yeah.
people that were winning, that were the pros on the bikini circuit. That's really what I think fit model is now. I think that just it's as most subjective sports go, it's going to evolve. And if it doesn't evolve, we wouldn't have wellness. We wouldn't have bikini. We wouldn't,
Hmm.
so I think that it's a great way to showcase the different physiques, and fit model, is not one of those, very minimal muscle type groups. In fact, I mean, there's still the same amount of muscle that I had on me 6 weeks prior. I was
Yeah.
competing in bikini. So I mean, I'm making top 10, first call out. So I think it's about um, the way that you're presenting it, right? as with
Yeah.
any posing, it's all kind of an illusion and what catches your eye. And we have ways with posing to hide certain things or accentuate certain things. And same thing can be said with fit model and bikini. It's just the way that we pose is a little different, and it accentuates certain things that say bikini posing wouldn't. And
Right.
honestly, I felt as though when I was posing with Lana, because she has posed me for years now, and for all virtual, and she, just getting into that fit model pose, it felt more comfortable for
Hmm.
me. I don't know why. It just felt, and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I feel like my muscle memory is going to kick in. And when I get on the stage, I'm going to do my bikini pose. I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm just so nervous. That's what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
I kept thinking in my head, but then I would just, when I got up there, it was just so natural to get into that fit model pose. So I just found it all around so much more me,
Yeah.
as opposed, like I'd said, it's like I was a circle trying to fit into a square for the longest
Yes.
time, and I just couldn't get in there. And then when fit model came, I thought it just was the perfect timing, God's timing, honestly, where I was just there and I had the right people supporting me that led me down that path, because it really was just such divine intervention. And I'm so thankful that the NPC started this division, because it
Yeah.
really has, it is going to, I feel like it's going to blow up. I feel like 2026, it's going to be huge, and I'm so thankful that they started the division
I
for
know.
people that were sort of, that are in my shoes, that maybe don't have the mass or don't want to go through the PED route to get the mass,
Right.
or want to just do something a little bit more entry level, I guess, because the suits are as expensive. It's just that sort of level. So I think
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for it.
I think it's great. I love how you say that about like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole, because I do think that that's where people were somewhat limited, because like wellness is like, I mean, I think wellness chooses you. I don't think you choose wellness. Like,
I
it
agree.
is just literal. And but I would say the same thing about figure, because I tried for so long to fit into figure, and I'm just it's not for it doesn't work for me. The hips don't lie, so I can't. I don't have the figure. I don't have the like the triangle. I just
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. No.
So
I
when
can't even do
bikini,
the lat spread.
I no, I can't either. When I teach figure posing, I look ridiculous. Um, so, I think that that's the beautiful thing about this sport, is that it just has created more opportunities for more people. Same with like in the men's divisions as well, like,
Yeah.
with 212 and men's physique and, classic physique, all these different divisions. So, I'm sort of like when people resist change, I'm always like, I mean, come on. Like, of course we're going to evolve. Every other sport, every other
Right.
professional organization evolves. And I think that it's such a great thing. So, I mean, some people just are going to reach a cap, a limit for their physique, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's
True.
probably disheartening to go like, oh, well, I guess I just have to step away from bikini. And, you know, and I think that this is an opportunity for them to continue to train hard, to continue to get excited about something
Yes. You
and
should not have to
strive.
quit. Exactly.
Right,
And I feel like
exactly.
it's healthier. I feel like the feedback that I received was that I was borderline too lean. And a lot of that was just the leftover leanness from bikini. So I feel like it's also more attainable in that you don't have to get that lean, that's always so hard, those last
Yeah,
couple of weeks. And I feel like really with the 6 weeks we had in between, we were cruising. I felt like
yeah,
it was, we were just keeping the same routine, the same macros, the same cardio. It was, so I felt like I wasn't killing myself to be so stage lean.
right,
And so I feel like it was more healthy for me.
right,
And it wasn't, yeah, I didn't feel like I had to drop weight so much
right.
so soon right before stage. Yeah.
I think it's important to sort of like piggyback off of that though, and like mention that, of course, like the level of condition is not as like I mean, I think bikini, there is a level of conditioning it's tough to reach, it's tough to maintain, right?
It is,
So
sure.
when like fit model girls will say like, oh, it's like I don't have to push to that level, but what you're still doing to be in shape for a fit model is still quite extreme compared to an average gym goer, like someone who's got
Right.
flexible macros. Like there's still a ton of structure. Like you're
No,
still
yeah.
training like a high level athlete. So like when people talk about the difference between like their prep and bikini and their prep and fit model, sometimes it's like it's interpreted as it's easier, and I don't think that it is. I just think that it's just okay. Now we don't have to push to like this like maddening unhealthy place, which for some people that's not hard. It's not as challenging. Just genetically they can reach that level of conditioning. But then for some people, okay, stepping out of that, I'm still doing all the hard things. It's still really challenging. It's just not
Right.
it's just not for me. It's more for me, something that my body can do. It's still difficult. I'm still, and I think that's where I come in defense of like a lot of the, you know, divisions in that when people say that they're easier or it's not as hard. I'm like, no, it's still pretty hard to look like
Yeah,
that.
I agree. I feel like and I feel like it's one of those things where unless you've been through a prep, it's hard to really understand
Hmm.
the day in, the day out grind and the mental stress and
Yeah.
and it's still all there. And I still had all of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, really nothing changed between in those 6 weeks. So it was, it really was. I do feel that when people do judge it or say, yes, we don't want the sharp lines and we don't want to
Hmm.
see the vascularity, you just eat a few carbs and it's that's
Right.
that easy to go. I mean, it's not like it's rocket science on show day. You just load up
Right.
with carbs prior and your lines dim just a little bit, just enough so that you're not bikini criteria, you're fit model criteria, and it's the same thing. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
100%. So you mentioned that they pointed out you were, had some good conditioning. So what
Yeah.
was your feedback from your pro card win and what are you working towards for your pro debut?
Yeah, that's a good question. I spoke with two of the judges, and one just said, "You looked great. You were the standard." And then, which was great, because I feel like I was hoping that I wouldn't come across as bikini, as too much
Yeah, yeah,
bikini.
yeah.
And then the other was again, you definitely stood out and you caught our eye. You were a tad too lean. He's like, I almost docked you on that. I was like, oh, I'm so glad you did. Thank you. um and so yeah, so right now we're, because the shows are not till 2026, so
Yeah.
we're in a reverse, and cardio went down, calories are up, and so I'm a good, I would say, 5 pounds up from stage,
Yeah.
and I'm comfortable. Like I'm not food focused, and it's a much easier. I feel like this whole prep this year was so much easier, and
Yeah.
the reverse is so much easier. And yeah, so I am so excited to do a Fit Model Pro show. Whenever they launch them and come out, I would love to sort of see what fits in the schedule. I'm excited to see that it's going to be at the Olympia in
Yes.
2026. So, with the new criteria for the bikini qualifications, I'm curious if there will be some pros that maybe have been off for several years or that are going to now come back as fit model. So, that'll be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I am very excited to see how many shows there are, what like
Hmm.
who is going to be putting on a bikini show along or a fit model show along with all their other pro divisions. Because I think I don't know, when I read the new qualification, the point system, I don't think it will
Yeah.
apply to fit model because you don't
No.
have any like returning Olympians. Like this is going to be the
Correct.
first like Olympia, and there could only be like 25 fit model shows. But then I always like I miscount like the European shows because I was like,
Yeah, that's true. The ones
there,
overseas.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we'll just kind of see like what happens, but it's going to be really cool to see what that looks like, because I do think, like, when we have our overall winners from the national shows, we have kind of an idea of, like, where the division's kind of going. Not that it changes drastically, but, like, we can see. So I think our first pro fit model winner is really gonna set the tone, so I'm
I
so
think so
excited.
too. Yeah, I do too. And I think it's going to be a good way to just get into making it more well known and to, you know, it hopefully inspiring amateurs to just keep pushing because it's going to be I have a feeling it's going to be a very big division within the pro circuit. And I think that I think a lot of bikini pros now may come and join Fit Model. And I think that it's going to be awesome for the sport. I think it's going to rejuvenate, and I think it's going to
Yeah.
help, ultimately to help promote that bodybuilding can be it can be healthy, it can be done naturally. You don't have to go to those extremes, and if you want to, absolutely do that. That's your choice, but there is a division that can meet those needs or those desires that you have to stay within your wheelhouse and things that you feel that are important to you, like me
Yeah.
staying natural. So it just makes it so much more attainable, I think. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. But
Yeah.
the plan is to do something in 2026. Just not quite sure when or where.
Well, now you're
Um,
not stuck to that, like, June, July, August schedule, which I did that this year as a pro and I didn't have to. But lo and behold, I signed up for all shows through. I'm like, what was I thinking?
isn't
Like, I
that
was
so
trying to get
funny?
away from that schedule, but I think it just for this last year, it really worked with, like, the kids,
Yeah.
because of just it's summer break and we're a lot busier during the spring. But I think next year I'm going to look at the fall, and just take enjoy my birthday and have the summer off. But I love Pittsburgh so much. I'm sure I'm gonna find my way back there somehow, whether it's
Oh,
just
I
cheering
know. And
people on or
yeah, and the weekend that North Americans, it was the most beautiful
wasn't
weekend.
it?
I
I
mean,
know.
oh my gosh. And there was like festivals going on, and like I would go for
Mhm.
walks just to get steps in. And
Yeah, it was.
it
It's
was
so,
so
like, beautiful
beautiful.
there. It really is, like, it's such an underrated place,
It
like, every time I
is.
go, I always feel safe there, and I had stayed
Me too.
across the river, like, Friday night,
Oh,
because I
yeah.
couldn't get into the host, and our check-in for pros wasn't till Saturday, so I was walking back and forth across that bridge, and I was just like, "I
Yes.
just love it here." I really do. It just feels like, and I've been there so many times over the years. I'm like, "I
Isn't
should
it
get a
true? It's
timeshare
like,
there."
"Oh, it's home again. We're going back to Pittsburgh."
Me
I
again.
know. It's like it's really like our second home because we've been there
Yeah,
so many years,
I
year
know.
after year, every summer.
I know. Next summer, they're gonna be like, "Where's Megan?" She's always on this list.
It's so true. Well, that's the thing that's great is that I like to try to meet up with like just friends that I've met
Yeah,
honestly backstage, and then we just follow each other the next year, or like with you. And it's like I was with Hope and we're in line and
yeah,
I'm like, I know that voice.
yeah.
And it was you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I listened to you. Just little things like
And
that,
now here you are right on the podcast. How awesome. I love it.
It's funny.
Yeah. So, I did wanna touch on one thing before we get into the juicy stuff that we're gonna talk about. But you are vegetarian and you train at home, which are 2 things that I think a lot of people do, and they just don't really talk about it. Or you typically will see people posting their training videos or at some, like, big crazy gym or something, but you've been very successful in reaching your goals and having a competition ready physique, training at home and being vegetarian. So tell
Oh,
me a little
thank
bit
you.
about, like, both of those things and what a bodybuilder lifestyle looks like as a vegetarian.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, I've always trained at home and I've just gradually built up the gym over the years. Like we had dumbbells, we started with dumbbells and then, got the cables and the barbell and the plates and just everything over time has built. But it's it looks, I wake up in the morning and I just go right to my training and that's all made by my coach, Christina. She knows what equipment I have. She knows, if I want to change some things up, she knows what I have that I'm available to do adjustments with it. And yeah, so that happens. And then I have a treadmill. And so that's where I do all my cardio. And it's funny because I used to want to just run all the time and
Yeah.
just because that was what I did for cardio for the longest time. And then a couple years ago, she was like, I think she's like, you gotta trust me, but we're gonna stop running. I was like, what?
Wait a minute.
And she's like, we're going to work on some incline walking. We want to preserve the glutes. We want to really focus on the glutes and not burning them off with running.
Mhm.
And so I have been incline walking now for several years. I love it. And if I need to change things up, I mean, obviously I alter my incline, I alter my speed. I have like a vest, a weighted vest. I've got a big, like, gosh, I think it's like 30 pounds. And then I have a 10 pounds. So, there's just different ways that you can increase the intensity of the walk for my cardio. But yeah, no running, which if you would have told me 10 years ago, you're not going to run, I was like, oh, that's crazy. But it's true.
Yeah.
And she's a runner, so she gets it. But the
Yeah.
incline walking really does
Yeah, it
get the
does.
heart rate up, and it really does help. So preserving the glutes, I would assume,
Yeah.
apparently. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of I eat the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
There's there's no there's no variety really. It's more like I eat more of one thing versus another based
Yeah.
on what my macros are, which my coach arranges for me. So, a lot of Greek yogurt, tofu. I love Core Nutritional's vegan protein, but I make like a cookie dough. I do like a cookie dough consistency type.
Yeah.
I like to eat my protein, not really drink it.
Yeah.
Um, Cottage cheese is a good one. So dairy, a lot of dairy, which
Yeah.
some coaches in the past had told me, that's not gonna get you to your goals. And it never really phased me. Like I never really had that inflammatory response that I guess some people do when they do have dairy.
Yeah.
So lots of dairy, tofu, and a lot of vegetables, and mostly zucchini is my
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Have you
What
always
else?
been vegetarian or was it like a later in life decision?
No, yeah, it's funny because I never was. I always, growing up, we always had, meat, chicken, whatever. And then it wasn't until my first pregnancy with Sam, who's now 17. I just remember in that first trimester, I was cutting raw chicken. And, you're just kind of like, you're so nauseous about like the most littlest things. And I just
Yeah.
remember I got sick just cutting it, just the concept of cutting it. And I was like, and ever since I've had this sort of aversion to it. And it's not for anything other than I just somehow that stuck with me.
Yeah.
I never got
Yeah.
out of it. So yeah, I haven't had meat in a very long time.
Yeah. Well, I know there's, lots of pros that are vegetarian men as well. So I'm always fascinated what that's like because I just consume so much chicken. And I don't mind. I like it. I always feel like if I don't have like chicken, I miss it. I feel like it's just something that I enjoy.
It's great for yeah, I
But
mean,
some
it's
people
great to
don't, they
have
don't
that.
digest it, it's not for them, and I think there's so many ways to do this, like, I think that there's no
Mhm.
absolutes when it comes to bodybuilding, which I love that about our sport,
Me too.
so I'm always interested when somebody has sort of a different approach and they're successful, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's definitely I mean, because my kids, my family, would they all eat meat. And so like I make their supper and then I just have mine. So it's and like when we go out, I just bring my food. I'm just used to it. Like I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink wine. I just drink
Yeah.
water and my BCAAs and my EAAs and
Yeah.
it's and my creatine. That's my staple. Creatine is essential. I feel like everyone should be taking creatine
I
no
feel
matter
like
what.
now people are
Yeah.
more aware that it's not just a bodybuilding supplement anymore.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like for a while there was like, well, I don't want to get swole, but now we know like all of the other benefits.
Yeah.
Are you doing 5 or have you joined the club
5.
of people doing more? Because I want to increase it, but I am just reluctant. I don't know. I don't think my body will have an aversion, but I mean, some people taking 15 grams, like, and
Wow.
because of like all of the brain power and
Right, the
the
neuro stuff, yeah.
yeah, so I'm, like, very interested. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It was Chris Bumstead, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I just
Oh,
took
wow.
25 grams right before this because 'cause I'm a little short on sleep," 'cause they have a baby, and he had been
Yeah,
up all night, and he's like, "Yeah, 25 grams of creatine, I feel, like, on the ball." I'm like, "I wonder if I should try that because I'm perimenopausal, I sleep terrible, so
me
there's some
too.
days where I
Oh,
could
me
really
too. Oh god,
could
I
really
am
use."
up and I've noticed too, like, during prep, my sleep is horrible,
It's
and it
terrible.
never used to be, but I'm 47. Wait, how old am I? I was born in '79, so I'm 46. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know I'm perimenopausal and literally, like, I am up every hour during prep. My sleep is horrible. But
It's
then I
so bad.
noticed, like when we were done North Americans and then we started reversing. I sent my coach screenshots of like my sleep thing from my Apple Watch. I was like, look at the amount of deep sleep I had and the amount of
Yeah.
REM I have with just a few more, like hundreds of calories. Look at how much better my sleep is. And that's still being perimenopausal. So yeah, it's prep really throws a wrench in it.
It really does. It was terrible for me this last prep. I mean,
Me too.
I have an aura ring and it was like all red lines under like deep
Yep.
sleep, REM sleep, and I was doing all the things, magnesium, all the things. I know
Me
it's
too.
just
I do that
hormones.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that for me, fortunately, I think because of the bodybuilding lifestyle and like my habits, my routines, like I rarely drink, I drink tons of water. Like,
Me too.
I really I have like no time for drama, like all that stuff I think helps me. It's just that the sleep is the one thing that I'm like, I hate
It
this. It's
is.
so
And it's the one
frustrating.
thing that it's like it is very frustrating and I feel like I was up every hour to pee. But then I'm like, but then I noticed that when I'm reversing, then it's like I can get like little batches of like maybe 2 to 3 hours at a time. Whereas
Yeah.
before, like it was literally every hour. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is not sustainable with life.
And you're
Why am
hearing
I not
everything like,
getting
oh, good sleep's important for fat loss. I'm like, I know. I'm
I know,
trying.
like for growing muscle. I wish that I
Yeah,
could sleep. I want to sleep. My
I
body won't
know.
let me.
I know if anyone's listening, you can help us, but please don't suggest melatonin or magnesium or GABA or L-theanine because we're doing all those things.
We are. We're doing them. We're doing lots of
Like,
them.
oh, another sleep product. I've probably tried it. So, yeah, it's so funny. Okay,
It
well,
is.
we're gonna get a little, we're gonna go
Oh,
a little deeper. We talked,
okay.
we sort of, I prefaced that I was gonna bring this up. So I want to explore your opinion about some of the misconceptions and things that people say about Fit Model.
Perfect.
And I just think that these are hot topics, things that I've been discussing with clients of mine, friends of mine, other competitors, and so on and so forth. So we're going to dive right in. The first one is that the suits are a downgrade.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so, but I
I
know they're not
honest
sparkly, but
they're not sparkly, but you know what? I was messaging you prior to this. I have to say, it is the most comfortable suit I have ever been in. And I've been in a lot of suits. It's just so comfortable. And like sitting backstage, like, like when you're laying down and you have your feet up and you've got those crystals and they're literally digging into your
digging
sacrum.
into you.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's horrible. And then like around your neck, it's like the knot it's so tight and like your neck hurts. The way that I had my suit made, so I had Toxic do mine and it was a phone consultation and
Yeah.
the way that she designed it with it had like slides. So like there
Hmm.
was no tie. It was just like just like a regular slide up on my neck and then a slide in the back. It was the most comfortable suit. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I feel like I stood out more in my pink no bling suit than I ever did in a crystallized suit. I mean, and I've done all different colors. I've done reds, greens, blues, purples. I've done
Yeah.
all kinds of crystallized suits and I never felt more confident and that I stood out more than in my pink, which I was so glad I chose the pink, which this kind of frowned upon in bikini, not frowned upon in bikini, but like, they go, oh, do
It's,
more of the
yeah.
jewel tones
Yeah.
and do
Hmm.
that, and then when Maureen wore pink, right, it kind of like revamped the interest in
Yeah.
it. And I thought it was interesting because I had done a check-in. I normally do my check-ins with my coaches every Thursday, every single week for the last 3 years. Every Thursday we do check-ins. In season, off season, doesn't matter. And I had normally wear like a black sports bra with my pictures, but this time it was in the laundry and I was like, I don't know where it is. So I put on this like not coral, but it was more like a hot pink like sports bra that I had had forever. And I remember her first comment was, wow, pink looks really good on you. And I was like, oh, and that was like months ago. And then when it came time to order the suit, I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to my coach. She said, pink looks really good. Let's go with pink. And so
Yeah.
the rep, she just from Toxic, she walked me through the different colors. And at first I had one picked and she's like, no, you don't want that one. That's more orange. Go with this one. And that's the one that I picked. And it stood out.
Yeah.
So yeah, long story short, they are awesome. The
I
suits
think
are
Toxic
awesome.
does a great job. They make a beautiful suit. Like it is still a custom suit. Like it, even though it doesn't have the bling, like the cut and everything still has to be made for your body.
It
And
is.
I think
Yeah.
that the biggest thing is like you could wear yellow or green or blue or whatever. Like it's your physique. Like it should be that is what is being featured on the stage, and you still have earrings, and you still have jewelry, and you still have the hair
Right.
and the makeup, like, high
Yeah,
glam, right?
definitely.
So, but I understand why they made that decision, first of all, and they did this in wellness too, like, they didn't want wellness to look like bikini, so they made
Hmm.
they had the initially, like, the first year they had wellness, like, there was that, like, underwire top with, like, the
Yeah.
2 pieces that came together and then the
Yep.
V-cut bottom, no connectors on the side, like, they had because they really wanted to show the distinction between the 2 divisions. So I think
Right.
that's important, but I also think that they were, for a brand new competitor that's trying to, like, watch the budget, like, not wanting to spend $600 on a suit, which
Hmm.
I understand, but I've seen so many stunning fit model suits, and they're all sparkly material, I mean, they
Yeah, like you can have the sparkly. I just chose, it was more of a matte, and I didn't even know, honestly, I didn't even know what I was picking. I just trusted her. And but you can get the more shimmery type fabric. My friend Amy has a couple that are that more
Yeah,
shimmery type. What was I gonna say? Oh, but I have like a negative A cup bra size. Okay. So I prefaced when I did my call with the toxic girl, I was like, listen, I breastfed 3 children. One, I breastfed for multiple years. So let me tell you, I have the first place that I lose fat or any sort of stores is right here. And so she got me all set up with these like great pads that are like, just like make it seem like I'm like a C. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
perfect.
So it really is custom because I didn't even know the different types of like filler type things that they put in. And when it came and it had that in it, I thought, oh my gosh, this is great. Like I finally look like I have boobs.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think those suits
it's
look amazing, like, I think it's all in just how you style everything and, it shouldn't be about that anyways, right? Like, this is
right. No, it
about
shouldn't.
our
But and
physique.
then I feel like it's good too because you have the different glute coverage too. So it's
Yes,
not so much like I remember when I would wear my crystal the bikini and it really wasn't like the pro cut was very
it's a
much.
thong. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it
There's
is.
no coverage.
And I thought, well, yeah, you're really not covering much. And so, with the way the fit model suit is, you just have to glue and make sure that it's symmetrical. Really, that's the only thing is that when I would do posing, and of course, I'm not gluing myself before I do posing with my coach, but it would like one would go up. And so, like, it does alter your eye, when you're
Yeah,
looking at someone posing. So, you just make sure you're glued. And they did a phenomenal job at North Americans, the Olympia Tan. They did a great job making sure we
yeah,
were
they're
all.
awesome.
Yeah, they and like it kind of sits up so that you can get that glute med projection when you're doing the
Yeah,
front pose. You want to make sure the strap is right above your med, and they made sure that everything was
yeah.
glued and in its place. So it's a very comfortable suit. Highly recommend.
And you can get 2 to 3 different colors for the price of 1 bikini suit and
Yeah,
switch them out, and I
yeah,
think it's great.
yeah,
Okay, we've already talked about the second one that I was gonna say, which is that fit model is easy, which we already dispelled that one. Okay,
yeah.
here's this one. What do you say to those that are frustrated regarding somebody switching to bikini just to get a pro card faster? Or switching to fit model from bikini just to get a pro card faster? Because that is something that I
Yeah.
have heard this summer through the national shows, just like, oh, so and so, did this national show and this national show and, was in second call out and then did fit model and turn pro right away. Almost like it was an easier way of going
Right,
about it.
which blows my so that what that tells me is that what the judges are judging are physiques based on criteria, right?
Mhm.
So, how they fit according to whatever the criteria is for that division. And if it just so happens that they fit into the fit model criteria, which I did, I had worked for so long to try to fit into bikini and I just wasn't quite hitting that criteria. But then when fit model came into play and I fit that criteria better, that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I feel like if
Yeah.
you, let's say you were born and you just had a bigger lower half and you've been trying bikini, and they kept saying, no, your glutes and legs are too big, or you've been playing soccer, I could tell your legs are much bigger. Then you go to wellness and you get your pro card. So are we supposed to look down on them? Like, to me, it's like if you fit the criteria and your body fits that division better, absolutely get rewarded for it. Your hard work.
Right.
Like, this is a no-brainer. So I
100%.
definitely feel like it's just where you fit, where your physique fits in that criteria that
Yeah.
day.
You
Yeah.
were always training for, that look for a division that just didn't exist yet. So it came along and there you have your fit.
That's
So
that's a
and I
good
think
way
like
of putting it. Yeah.
there's so many people that have put so many years into training, trying to fit into, square peg into a round hole. And then this opportunity presents themselves. Wasn't any faster. It wasn't any easier. They still made the run at the national
No.
shows and did,
We still
and
put the time
probably
in, and yeah, we
yes,
sure did.
and like, having to like it's different for us too, because as masters, our qualification for nationals is just do a show.
Three
It can be
shots.
you
And
do a show and then you get and then you're qualified for nationals, right? But if you're competing in the open, you have to compete at a national qualifier and
yeah.
place first or second. So if you're looking at somebody who's like early 30s, been competing for 5, 6 years, and they've done, they did the national show, and then the next year they didn't qualify, and then the following year they did qualify, did 2 national shows, and then they come around and get fit model, give that person a pro card. Like they have worked very, very hard. Like, so I don't like that narrative that's kind of like, oh, she just won a pro card easy. So she just did da da da. Because this happened in bikini when it first came out. I transitioned from figure over to bikini and
Wow,
started
that's
doing
wild.
well. And it was like, oh, well, figure was just too hard for you. And I'm like, no, I was never going to be a champion figure competitor. It was never going to
Right.
be what my body could do, So,
Right.
I mean, look at me now. I've been training for 20 years. I don't look like a figure competitor. I was never
Yeah.
going to, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't know. That came up recently, and I was just instantly like, no, that's not right. And I also think too, like we're building this sport. Like there are going to be levels all along the way. There are going to be people that are just going to pop in and get that pro card, and that's really what this is about. Like the best of the best, right? So whether they
Right.
took 5 years in bikini and then got a pro card in fit model, or you know what, maybe they were a Olympian in the bikini
Yeah.
8 years ago, went
Yep.
away, had a couple of babies, and now they're gonna come back around and
And I
compete as
can
a fit
see that
model pro.
happening. I mean, I can
Great.
see a lot of like famous pros that I followed way back that are
Yeah,
going to start coming into the circuit. And I think that's lovely. I
me
think that
too.
they should. I think that if we can do something to increase the awareness of the sport and
Yeah,
and to make it that it is a possibility for anyone and everyone can do it, why not? I mean,
I know.
I feel like I feel like if you're hating on something, it's because it has triggered something in you that you're insecure about.
100%.
If you're secure with who you are and if you're secure with your path in life, that shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't matter.
Right.
If you are dead set on doing bikini and staying bikini, by all means, please do that. But
Mhm.
I felt, I'd done that for so long and I just felt like I was missing something. And
Yeah,
then when this came along and went to it, it wasn't as if I hadn't put my time in or the work in. And there's something to be said about those pros that only do one show and go pro. That's great. That's awesome.
yeah,
And that happens. And I feel like, I have a thing posted in my basement. It says comparison is the thief of joy.
yeah,
Those paths are great. But for me, day in and day out and failing and failing and failing and failing again, and then finally having that victory, to me, it means so much more. And I
yeah,
think that it inspires people to not give up and that it
right.
won't always be one show and you're pro.
No.
It's very rare. But if you love the sport, if you love what it does for you, and you love that daily grind and it being part of who you are, your placing shouldn't matter. The division you're in shouldn't matter. What
Right.
matters is just that you show up every day and you're consistent, and then those good things will happen.
Yeah. It's at 100%. It's the journey, and you can't compare yourself to others. Certainly, like when you want something so bad and you really are giving it everything that you can. Like you get up on that stage and you go, I did everything that I could do. You should have
Yes.
peace with that and go, I'm
Hmm.
still good enough. Like today I wasn't, the winner. I did
Yep.
not win my pro card, but I'm still good enough. Like I'm still proud of how far I've come. I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going.
Right.
I'm happy for that person that achieved their goal, and that was God's timing for them. But
Right.
there's a different timeline for me. And so I think just getting in a shitty place and sort of looking at someone else's journey and comparing or putting them down, I don't think it gets you there faster at all. I think it's
Yeah.
stay
And,
focused
and
on
it,
what you're doing.
exactly. And I think too, and that's what happened to us though, because every year we had that happen to us.
Hmm.
We went home and we had to just keep going.
Yeah.
And I remember like in July when I came home, my little boy Charlie, he was like, "Oh, mom, you just didn't get it again." And I'm like, "Nope, I didn't get it again." But that's okay. I'm just going to keep working. We tailors never quit. We're just going to
Yeah.
keep working. And so then when I did come home and he was like, "Mom, you did it." And I was like, "Finally."
Yeah.
But it's true that it's that victory is so much sweeter the more, in my opinion, the just the amount of work and all those failures, it
Yeah.
does build character, it builds that resilience, and that's, and then God only knows when I compete in the pros and I get, 16th place times 12, who knows. It's all that process. We just keep showing up. We just keep putting in the work because we love it. It's
Yeah.
not, and I'm sure those times will happen where I will be 16th place, but it's just being on that stage and having the ability to compete and to be a pro. That's is so special.
Yeah.
That's something that we've worked so hard for and we've dreamt about for so long that I'm
Yeah.
just happy to be there,
Yeah.
like
Same.
I'm
Same
so glad I have
100%.
that card.
Yes, you made it out.
That's right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. I love that. So speaking of that, I know you kind of briefly mentioned like next year and what that might look like, but what's your ultimate goal when it comes to the next steps in your career and your career as a pro?
Yeah. Well, I mean, much like you, I want to compete as a pro, as a master's pro. I think
Mhm.
that that's really awesome to be with other women that, within our, yeah, I love just being around other athletes that are my age, that have families and children. And, it is possible to do all those things and have a family and a full-time job and, all those and be a vegetarian. So it's definitely one of those things where I would love to. I mean, it would be an honor if I could work towards, I mean, the ultimate goal of Masters Olympia. That's always
Yeah,
our goal. I wish they would do it every year instead of
I
every
know,
two
me
years.
too.
But maybe as there are more of us coming into the circuit, things will again evolve, and
Yeah.
evolution is good. I mean, it's good because change is good, and
Mhm.
it makes us grow, and it's there's so much more to look forward to, and being a pro athlete and representing a master's athlete is really important, and being a mom, that you can inspire other people. So ultimately, yes, I would love to compete as a pro and masters shows, even local ones here in Baltimore. I think there are some masters pro shows here,
Yeah,
and yeah, and
I
then
love it.
ultimately,
The
the Masters
Masters O
Olympia.
in
Yeah,
27. I know.
that's
Well, we're
right.
still trying to we're waiting for them to tell us where it's gonna be and what that the selection criteria has been different now. 23 was different
Mhm,
than 25, so we'll see,
mhm.
but I just have a very good feeling that we are gonna be reunited on the pro stage. We'll be backstage together and cheering each
Oh
other
my
on, and
gosh,
I would
won't
love
that
for
be
that
so
to
fun?
also be at the Masters Olympia because that is the ultimate goal, which I love that we have that. We have something to strive for now that we're Masters pros. We can aim for something really exciting, so
Yeah, I think it's important to always have those goals that seem, they're so big and they're so scary,
Mhm.
but I think that those are the things that just keep you going, and there's always that, it's like the carrot, that's always
Yeah.
there, and you're always just trying to reach for that, and it's, if anything, it's just competing as a pro is just an honor, and I'm just so thankful for the division and for the NPC for starting it. So it's I'm very hopeful. I'm so glad they listened and they've
Mhm.
offered it. So yeah, the best is yet to come. I truly
Yes,
believe.
I agree. Awesome. Well, I have loved chatting with you today. I knew this was going to be such a great episode. So, would you mind sharing with our audience where they can reach you and how they can follow your journey?
Yeah, well, I'm on Instagram, and I'm at Meaghan, so it's Meaghan .Taylor.IFBB Pro. So you can message me, or you can DM me, or I am a
Yeah.
private account since my kids are on it. They're like, "Mom, you have to be private. My friends are following you." I'm like, so yeah, it is private, but definitely reach out to me, connect with me.
Yeah.
If you're a nurse or a nurse practitioner, you're in healthcare and you're a mom or vegetarian, like all those things that you feel like a connection to, definitely reach out and I'm happy to help.
Awesome. I'll leave that in our show notes below. And thank you again for coming on today. And
Thank you for having
congratulations.
me.
Yes, it was so great chatting with you. And yeah, I'm excited to continue to follow your journey and cheer you on. And can't wait to see
Ditto.
what the future looks like.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
you too. Yeah,
Thank
this is great.
you. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share with a friend, and we will see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.